Welcome back to the Women Veteran Entrepreneurs. We call it WAVE Podcast. This is a podcast dedicated to women of color who are veterans or military spouses, as well as those women who are looking to do government contracting. You know who I am, Omar Muhammad, helping you improve and progress in business and in life. All about entrepreneurship. This Wave podcast is brought to you by Truist Bank. We really appreciate the support that they've given us over the last couple of years as it relates to this platform where we work with women who are in business. So, with that said, I do want to share with you some of the items that we have available. So, first, we have a certification program. So, for those individuals who are looking for local, state, and federal opportunities, we have a certification program that you can look at. We also have a boot camp. And we're going to talk about that in a few minutes. Entrepreneurship boot camp, really about government contracting, how to get involved in government contracting. For those individuals that are looking for access to capital, we have a loan fund from 5,000 to 15,000, and I'm not going to talk about, let me go ahead and share the news now. We also going to have some additional funding coming in for those individuals who are looking to get more than $15,000. So stay tuned to that. We have this wonderful podcast here. We call it the Wave Podcast. So we've been doing this now for a couple of years. This is, I think, number 23 of these that we've done. And we have our Room to Grow initiative, and that's where 10 women get together to learn about government contracting, but also about business as well. It's group mentoring, so we do have that. And then finally, we have our upcoming conference. So with that, I'm gonna play this video that we have here, so you all can see the wonderful things that we are doing with the video. So let me share. All right. Trying can you see the video? Yeah, all right. So here we go. All right, so there you have it. That is our upcoming conference that will take place real soon. So that's what we do. We're also on Facebook at Wave Podcast, WVE Podcast. And then we're working to get on the other platforms too, so we can spread the word about the wonderful things that we're doing as it relates to helping women who are veterans and women who are looking for government contracting. So with that said, as you know, we're going to do something different. Normally, I'm not here being a host. We have a group of people talking about their story. We have one person that's going to share her story, and then we'll just go back and forth with some questions with that. So without further ado, today's topic, we're going to talk about resources for vets, and all the things that I just talked about are some of the resources that we do have for vets. So I want to bring to you to the Wave podcast. I want to bring to you Terrina Taylor. She has a company called Sir Yes Her, right? And you do some other stuff too, right?
Well, yeah, that's my main business, but the my DBA is the Payments Connoisseur. That's the main one.
All right, well, let's talk about the main one. So, welcome to the Wave podcast. And I do want to ask, I like that name, Sir Yes Her. Tell us a little bit about that, and then let's go to your main one as well.
It's kind of a little running joke between my family and I, my daughters. When I was raising them, when I'm still raising children, but they always said I was kind of like militant, a little mean. They call me Star. And so if people, if they call me that out in public,
Yeah.
they'd be like, sir, and they look over, sir, and I'm like, yes, her, it's like a sir, yes, her. So that's where it
I
came
love that. I
from.
love the name. All right. So is it a company name or is it just something that you're using for branding purposes?
Just for branding purposes. We it was like a little running thing, and my a couple of my friends liked it when I went with it, so it stuck.
I want to hear you say it.
Huh?
I want to hear you say it like your daughters would say it. How would they say it?
Oh, sorry. No, they wouldn't say like salute me or nothing like that. It ain't that serious.
I hear
They
you.
would just call if they say something, they would say, "Can I have that, sir?" Or just call me sir. And people be like,
Oh.
"Why your daughter's calling you sir?"
Well, did anybody in military? Is that where they got it from?
Actually, no. My father was in the military, and my husband's father was in the military. But
Okay.
yeah, that was it. We weren't in the military at all. No.
I hear you. All right. All right. So let's jump to the business that you have. So
The
tell us about
payments, the
yeah.
payments connoisseur.
Yeah.
Okay, so with the payments connoisseur,
All right, Tarina, I think you're breaking
processing,
up.
and we wanted this direct to our community.
Hey,
Oh,
yep, let's if you can go
hello.
back. Yep, you're here now.
Okay. All right. So, sorry, yes, her. I'm sorry. The payments connoisseur is we specialize in payment processing, merchant services, and credit card processing services. And we want to take this directly to our community, to small minority owned businesses and women owned businesses. So that's what we want to become a resource to veteran business owners as well as small minority and women owned businesses that are opening businesses and need to accept credit card payments.
All right, good deal. So is this for a brick and mortar or is it for online or a combination?
It's a combination. It doesn't matter if you have an online platform. We have partnerships with NMI Gateway, Authorize.net. So
Mm.
any kind of integrations you need with your current payment systems, we probably can offer integration as well.
Okay. So talk to, I know people are tuned in and gonna probably have this question. Are people still using credit card processing machines versus using, what's currently out there? Well, I don't know if they should be using Cash App for their business, but some of them use Square or PayPal. How
Um,
does that integrate with what you're doing?
Square and PayPal are actually my competitors. I
Okay.
compete against them. I actually try to educate small business owners that when they sign up with these companies, these larger corporations, they're not actually getting a merchant account. They're a sub merchant underneath of a merchant. So
Mm,
PayPal and Square, they're the merchants. You're a
yeah.
sub merchant underneath of them. So if you have a situation where you have a spike in sales online, especially, and they have a feeling where they have to look into the risk to mitigate, they can put a hold on your money and
Yeah.
or shut your merchant account down to go investigate. So that's why I try to educate them. If you actually get a
Mm,
real merchant account up front, if
yeah.
that happens, we've already kind of discussed that and laid out that, and it already went through underwriting. So is we don't have to go through that situation.
So that's pretty interesting that you're talking about that. Because one of the things that I often do see is that people's funding is held up. So that's a great thing to really understand. What is truly happening. Really understanding the difference between the service that you provide versus the service that PayPal or Square are providing as well. All right. All right. So we have a new person that's jumping in, but we're going to continue. So how long have you been doing this? And then if you can talk about, we offer a entrepreneurship boot camp here at Morgan State University for women who are either vets or looking to go into government contracting. So can you share how long you've been in business and then your experience with boot camp, if you will?
I've been in business. My anniversary is coming up April the 27th. It'll be 2 years. And my experience with the boot camp, I just was in the WVE boot camp with Miss Dawn Tucker and Kamalia Blunt. And
Mhm.
that was a 4-week program for introductory learning about government contracting and to let you know what kind of certifications you should apply for and getting yourself ready to do business with the government. And it was very informative. It kind of got me more prepared. Ms. Dawn helped me to go over my capability statement and fine tune it, make sure everything was right on there, and just make sure I was just aware of all the things that's coming down the pipeline, let me know what's how to get ready for it.
All right, good deal, good deal. All right, now I could really disappear now. So we got the foremost expert. You talking about government contract and really understanding government contract. Lonnette Bryan is the one. So Lonnette, you want to introduce yourself?
Absolutely. First of all, Omar, it's something about you and your smile. It's you that's
You
giving me
said
all the
you
energy.
said I'll throw you off.
You, when I see you, I just get this energy and just be ready to just motivate, educate, make it happen.
Let's
Omar,
get
we
it.
gotta talk.
Yeah.
Anyway, good afternoon, everyone. Everyone, good afternoon. I'm Lonnette Bryan with GSA Federal Solutions. I'm the CEO. I previously worked with GSA for 30 years awarding GSA contracts. So I saw the demand that the federal government facilitate the government, GSA facilitates the government's buying power, and the federal government agencies, when they procure acquisitions, they use the GSA schedules. Then I also noticed that a lot of companies weren't educated that the federal government used the GSA schedule as the primary vehicle. So I came out to educate and to help companies obtain that GSA contract and pretty much explain on what it takes to do business with the government. So having that as my core competency, the GSA schedules, first of all, when you get a GSA contract, that means you're FAR compliant, you're substantial. So GSA stands in front of your company to the entire agencies all over and say, I know this company has the past performance. I know this company rates are fair and reasonable. So it standardizes your rates and makes you substantial to do business with the government. Also, along with GSA contract vehicles, you also want to make sure your company has certifications because those are set asides. The government says that we have to have sole source opportunities for companies that has those certifications, like your 8A, minority owned, your hub zone, your service disabled vet, and your woman owned. So those are the 4 major certifications. A lot of times companies says, well, I have state certifications, but marketing to the federal, they don't acknowledge those. They only acknowledge your state, your federal certifications as your social economics. So the whole idea is building that company and becoming substantial, knocking on the door and not leaving without an answer. So that's my concept
Absolutely.
in a nutshell.
It's all good. So I want you two to have a conversation because Terrina is thinking about going into, well, she's interested in government contracting. And Lonnette, I know you're doing a lot around that area. So I'm gonna disappear for a minute, let you all have a conversation for about 15 minutes about government contracting and resources for vets, as well as those women who are looking to do government contracting. So Terrina, meet Lonnette. Lonnette, meet Terrina.
Hey,
How
Miss
you doing?
Terrina.
How you doing, Miss Lynette?
And congratulations, you're so impressive. And that's what it is with you, is taking that leap, knowing that, hey, I can become an entrepreneur. I can offer my products and services and being able to be on these podcasts. Just a little bit about me, sweetie. I'm on the board of advisory, of course, with Morgan State. So I educate and I do a lot in helping the businesses. I also work with the Florida Women Business Center combined with 2 other organizations. They have 10,000 women-owned businesses. I also currently have a contract with the MBDA where I do training. I've done prime contracts with the federal government, Department of Energy, doing training. And I also spoke for the national conference of the Women-Owned Business Centers last year on GSA. So GSA is the ticket to success, and it makes you much, much more substantial. And you have to be in business for 2 years and have past performance. That's what those contracts are predicated on.
Yeah, I'm soaking up all the information you can give me because I'm new. You have way more experience than I have. I really don't have much to add to the conversation.
Well, I've been around with 42 years of GSA contracts.
Yes, ma'am. That's what I'm saying. I can just soak it up.
Right, not just that, but I've done a lot of educating. I used to do training for GSA. So I do know, and back then when I was working for the federal government, I was limited what I can say to companies, but now I can tell it all, right?
Right.
So, yeah, absolutely. I help them find the right concessions to bring into the government. But what company, what do your company do? Tell me, I'm excited.
We do merchant services and credit card processing.
Okay. So,
I'm
so
sorry.
now when you talk about credit cards and getting into merchant services, you're kind of getting into the cyber part of it, right?
Right.
So and I tell companies a lot of times, if there's not a really big demand on the GSA or not a demand on the GSA schedule, it's not likely the government is going to use it unless you have something that's new, idea, and cost effective for the government. So now the fact that you're in merchant services, thinking of credit card processing, the government don't do a lot of, they use a lot of credit cards, but they don't do a lot of credit card, not the federal. So there may be something on a state level, but when you talk about the federal, you're going to talk a little bit more cyber, more information technology that it may involve. But I tell companies all the time, everybody is doing consulting and don't know it. Anytime you know about your products or services and you can take it to the government and explain to them and tell them, they want to hear it. So consulting is a really big demand. So what you may want to do is identify how you do the consulting when you describe your capabilities and what type of merchant services you're doing. So that may be a good ticket on a professional level, is to find out, hey, where the consultant is? How can I help explain or help the government in this capacity? So if you just say, hey, do the government use credit cards? Not out of my 42 years. I don't know where they basically, not the federal. But at the end of the day, they may, but there may not be it on a vehicle. So you may have just to go open market. So keep in mind, you don't have to have a GSA contract to do business with the government because you can go open market. Having a GSA contract means that you're more substantial. So when they look at what they need, they're going to look at companies that put more into their company. The government says the more you put in your company, the more substantial you are. So I would look more with the type of commodity you have. I probably would look more into the services within that commodity that I may can dig up. You know, there may be more of a demand, again, like the consulting. So when you talk about consulting, look at FDIC, look at some of the government, the banks that, the government agencies that support the banks. So you would look more into those areas to support what you're doing. That makes sense?
Yes, ma'am. I have just got a RFP not too long ago, and it is on a state level with Nassau County, and they are specifically looking for my services. So the next step for me is to reply to the RFP. And yeah, as far as I was looking when I was doing a little bit of research on the federal level, it's not much, like you already said, it's not much on the federal level, it's more on the state level. And then I seen a couple that were with, I think, like on the Army base, Navy military bases, with like some of the stores and stuff like that. That was like as far as it went, as far as credit card processing services. So I was
what's their contractors?
Right.
So
it's kind of like more like you said, consulting and like fintech industry consulting, that type of stuff that I could probably put on my capability statement that will kind of make me have a competitive advantage.
Exactly. And when you have, and it don't have to be competitive, just may want to be of an advantage, because you don't want to be too competitive, you know, because everybody that has a business, they want to have a niche, something. What else outlines you than other companies that are doing what you're doing? Where's your specialty? But what I definitely, when looking into the consultant, remember you're using senior consultants, subject matter experts, and those people are predicated on on an hourly rate that will substantiate the minimum experience and the educational requirements. So we're looking at a nice amount on an hourly rate. It could be anywhere from 60, 70 to $200, $300 an hour. So it's all about when you're getting a GSA schedule on what you have billed for it. So you want to be able to look into, and I could probably tell you more about billing offline because I'm not crazy, but but there's a way that you can become that company that's offering professional services as opposed to credit cards or where you're doing, the concept, the ropes. And that's what people like myself and the government don't know. Because even though they have the opportunities for it, but this is why they put it out there for a consultant, so you to come and tell them how it should be done, what's a good way to do it. Anything that could be cost effective and could be more, where they'll be able to use that service.
Okay. And what about like building up my past performance?
Well, past performance is customers, and one of the things you want to do, sweetie, is you want to be able to identify the customers, your class of customers,
yeah.
What type of customers you want to do business with. Ultimately, the way to do it, once you identify your services, you're offering now professional services, you want to be able to team with companies that are a little larger, that are doing some of the same thing, but may not be doing the service part of it. So they may be doing the cyber security part, where it's technically they identifying the professional services on a security level, but here it is, you're doing the consulting. So I would definitely try to look at some IT companies, which there are thousands of companies that are doing cybersecurity. I have a young lady out of New York that does deal with credit card frauds and things like that. And she's never done business with the government, but she's done it with a lot of banks. So now she wants to come into the government, and I had to help her and identify to her she needs to go into the cybersecurity aspect of it. So she did some infrastructure, and now she's working on, going out the cybersecurity part of it and the AI and all of that technical things that we just don't do every day. So with you having that, you're looking at it saying, hey, I'm doing credit cards and processing, but you're doing a lot more interesting information that you can provide. So definitely look at teaming partners and look at other companies that you can do. Like if you have a GSA schedule, you can do a contract teaming arrangement where it's called the CTA, where the government tells you what your part on the contract is and what their part. So you have to do the strategizing in any company. You got to strategize on what your goals are and what you're doing. And you got to use that strategy on your partners and your teaming partners. So that's what past performance is, going after your customers and identifying your customers.
Okay. Everything I'm currently doing already. So I'm just need patience. That's all.
How long have you been in? Tell me a little bit. How long have you been in business?
This particular business, I added on this last year in March of last year. So it's been a year. I have one client, but that client is not, I need more clients. That's just what it comes down to. I need more clients.
What are you doing for that one client?
He's processing with a payment gateway through our company, but he just started a new venture and he's from a different country. So his payments are coming probably from international, and he's getting a lot of chargebacks. So it's not proven to be we don't have a problem, me and him per se, so he wouldn't be like a bad reference or anything. But as far as the data for my company, for me to kind of look towards future, I don't have the data yet because I don't have enough clients. So what I've been doing is just focusing on where I want to take my client is a small minority-owned, women-owned business. That's my target client. So I've been looking more into partnerships with like nonprofits that work with small businesses, just pretty much companies that's women-owned or small minority-owned businesses, talking to people through Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn.
So what are you selling me? Let's just say I'm a customer and it's your time to shine. So what if I'm a customer and I'm a woman-owned? I am a small woman-owned. So what can you do for me?
Well, what I want to
Identify
do for
payments.
what I want to do for you is lower your fees on your payments, because a lot of people have higher fees because they're with the bigger companies, PayPal and Stripe. Those companies charge a higher fee on your processing transactions. So what we do is we lower that fee by offering a interchange plus pricing. And that's pretty much interchange is what the credit card companies charge plus the ISO that I'm with. That's the 0.1% that they put on. And
Is
that's,
it international? Is it international?
yes, international.
And see, that's the thing that some people in here may have issues with or may need to be clarity when we talk about international funds. So that's something that may be a little bit difficult. Now, what if I don't have any fees?
You don't have any fees?
Right. What if I don't? What if I don't even use that?
You don't use credit card. Well, see, that's the thing. If you don't use credit card processing, it's kind of like you don't use credit card processing. You
Right. So here's the point I'm making. So
Mhm.
you're subjecting yourself that to saying, hey, this is what people want. You have to be able to provide the consulting, where it can be clearly identified within your consulting for companies like me. So you're telling me you can't help me or you can't do anything for me. So at the end of the day, consulting would probably be more essential for you. I know that there are some companies that has issues, some has issues with credit card companies, especially when we talk about international processing. So I think that's going to be a little difficult. And then too, you may want to focus on international companies. Even within the federal government, you may want to talk to USAID, you want to talk to the State Department, some of those people, and just see if there's a demand for that. Because when we're talking international, to most companies that are small business and local, they're not going to entertain that. You know what I'm saying? And then again, you may want to change your class of customer to the government. So when you go to the federal government, look at some of those agencies that deal with a lot of international work. And that way, they'll probably be able to tell you where or look at some of the forecasts or contact all the small business offices and find out where's that niche, where can you provide your services? Because I tell people all the time, you want to take your company from a person to person or commercial. I've taken companies that has medical supplies in a mall, in a store, and now they're sitting in an office placing orders. So you gotta be able to identify that customer and find out who's spending the most money in the United States. Is the federal government? What are they buying? Almost anything. Where can I market to that customer? So, looking at the small businesses may not be the customer right for you. You know what I'm saying? Because you may get a lot of people that don't want to invest their money or don't want to use their credit cards, especially if you're international. I get emails all the time from somebody telling me that their grandparents gave me $5 billion. You know what I'm saying? $5 billion.
Right.
Just, so you get all of those scams and those frauds. So when you're talking about money, you got to make sure you get to the right customer. I think that's where, as a young lady, you should focus on what can I offer this customer, the best customer in the capacity of my commodity. Okay. And then send me your capability statement by all means.
Okay, definitely.
Right.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Well, let's go, Mike. There it is again.
Oh,
Let me just start up again.
no, I'm trying to find myself. There we go. There you go. I pop back up. So, Lonnette, yeah, great conversation, great information. And I showed the video for the conference that's coming up. You're going to be speaking at the conference, right?
Actually, and I'm doing something a little bit different. I'm doing the motivation. Ain't
There
playing
you
no more. We get all we want, but if we ain't motivated to, like this young lady, to get out here, get
Yeah.
ourselves that exposure, get ourselves to find the information, find out where can I get it, then we're still on a treadmill. So yeah, I'm going to be doing the motivation.
Absolutely. So people, sign up so you can hear all this motivation. She full of energy, as you can see. You can register for the upcoming conference, which is this upcoming Thursday, the 27th of April at edacmorgan.com. That's edacmorgan.com. Any final thoughts? Terrina, do you have any final thoughts? Lonnette, do you have any final thoughts? And how can people reach out to you?
Well, please, by all means, I do one-on-one free consultations for half an hour because I want to be able to support and help as many businesses that need my service and need to know how to do business with the federal government. My website is gsafederalsolutions.com. My information is on there. Please send me an invite, a shout out, whatever we need to do to make it happen. Let's do it. And I think that's awesome that you brought Miss Terrina in, because I hope that I've given you a vast of information, Terrina, and I'll be glad to talk with you again one-on-one. Thanks again, Omar.
Thank you. Appreciate you, Lonnette.
Thank you, Miss Lonnette. Your information was very valuable. I wrote down everything you said, and I will be sending you my capability statement. And thank you, Mr. Omar, for having me on.
All right. Well, good deal. So don't forget, you can follow us on Facebook at Wave Podcast, and all of our information as it relates to this initiative can be found on our website at www. I don't know why I keep saying www, but anyway, www for the old school folk edacmorgan.com, and that's edacmorgan.com. Until we see each other again, continue to improve and progress. Peace.
That's what's up. Thanks, and keep that smile.